Welcome. How's everyone doing? This is Dave from the Fight Bananas podcast. How's everyone doing out there? Wow, another day in the mixed martial arts world, and it's just absolutely bananas. It's crazy. It's crazy. Every day there's something. Every day there's breaking news, there's fight rumors, fight matchups, new, stuff happening hourly, minutely, secondly in the MMA world. So we're here. This is the 97th edition of the Fight Bananas podcast. Thank you to all the sponsors. Thank you to all the listeners, the downloaders, the likers, the lovers. We love you guys. We appreciate it. 100th episode is coming up. We're just so pumped and amped. We got a couple nice shows really coming up. We got Jason Knight, Bare Knuckle FC in the main event. He's coming on. We got Jillian the Savage Robertson. I think she's going to be number 100. She was our first episode. When we did the merger to come to Fight Bananas, she was the first podcast we ever did. We actually had her around the 57th podcast. So I think it would be cool. I think it would be fitting to make her, number 100 and just kind of talk. Let's just chit-chat about life, mixed martial arts, stuff around it. I got a couple unique ideas I want to throw her way. But like I said, what a crazy world. And I don't like usually talking about media in mixed martial arts because hopefully you're listening to this and it's weird to talk about other people that are talking about it. So I'm talking about someone who's talking about it. You get the drift. But the Ariel Helwani show was just must-see TV or must-listen podcast or must-see on the ESPN app when you're driving home from work like I was doing. It was incredible content. And we here at Fight Bananas think content is king. So let's start off with the big elephant in the mixed martial arts world, Nick Diaz. It looks like Nick Diaz is back, guys. You don't come on the couch. You don't sit. You don't ramble on for an hour. You don't create scenarios of a comeback and not come back. That's called a Conor McGregor move. Hey, Nick looks like he wants to have revenge on his baby brother. That's something he kept on saying. It kept on hitting home here at Fight Bananas. He didn't like how Jorge was talking about the baptizing and the kick, and he just didn't feel like it was up and up. But, guys, they were fighting for the BMF belt. Come on, is the pot calling the kettle black? It's like that's what they do. That's what Diaz does. That's what your little bro does. So, Nick, be careful what you ask for. You do not want to wake up the giant, the king, the street Jesus, the Mr. Super Necessary 3-piece in a soda, Jorge Masvidal. You do not. But if they do, 2020, we wrote about it on fightbananas.com. How about 2020 spring, Dallas Cowboy Stadium? Jorge is becoming the king of MMA, the number one draw in the industry, the business, the UFC. And you never know what can lead up from that. If Masvidal versus Diaz, the winner of that just keeps on moving up the chain. What I love, Jorge is becoming what Conor was 18 months ago. He's just more important than the welterweight championship. I remember when Conor was kind of bigger than the lightweight or the featherweight title. And it happens in life. Jorge Masvidal, when he defeats Nick Diaz, his name, his worth, his must-see TV is just undeniable. It's already there. I think it's already there because I'm in it. I watch every UFC Moscow, UFC 245 that's coming up. We had people over for UFC 244. We go to the events. We're in it. But when I have family and friends that, I talk to and they know what I do and they know what who I interview and who I see, they rarely bring up, oh, hey, who's fighting this week? Is it the Masvidal fight? Hey, when's Conor coming back? Like, these are the questions that I get from the mainstream, the middle America, the people that are not all in like we are here at the Fight Bananas community. I ravish in that moment. I'm just so excited for Georgie that he is the main event. He is the man. He could pick and choose his battle, his fight, his bout. And I'm just so pumped. Talking about what Georgie's wanting to pick and who he wants to fight next, this Canelo thing is starting to get a little bit of steam. You know, when you go outside, we just had a great dinner with friends and family, and it was a Sunday night dinner. Our son Dylan, we were kind of sitting outside, and we live in Daytona Beach, Florida, and it's warm. It's always hot, but it had a little breeze. We were feeling a little good out there, and our friends, beautiful house, a beautiful dinner. Wife and I enjoyed it. It was great. We talked about MMA and talked about New York Knicks basketball, so I was happy. They had a fire pit, and they showed my son, you got to put the block of wood in, you got to light this match, you got to spray it with this kind of material first, how to build the fire, how to build the steam. And then it just doesn't happen. A fire just doesn't declare itself in the fire pit. In this fight, Masvidal versus Canelo doesn't happen Labor Day weekend just out of the bloom. You need steam. You need to plant the seeds. You need to start the fire. And I'm telling you guys, the fire is starting. The steam is rising. I never thought we would see it. The whole Conor and Floyd was just once in a lifetime event. And it was incredible. Still to this day, I loved it. And some people didn't like the antics. Guys, it's fun. It's entertainment. At the end of the day, let's just have fun watching fights. Why does everything have to be so serious? A wise man, Heath Ledger, said, why so serious? So when Conor and Floyd did it, I loved it. And I like the idea of Jorge and Canelo. Canelo's on another level. Canelo, to me, right now, P4P, pound for pound, the best boxer in the world. And let's have that debate for another time. I know the professor, John Raffer, would love that. He cannot wait for the next Canelo fight. Huge fan. But if that's something Masvidal wants to do, I'm all in. I support it. Here's my $80 on pay-per-view. Let's get it. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if Nick Diaz and Masvidal fights in the spring. We'll see if Labor Day weekend we see Mr. Super Necessary, Georgie, if he fights Canelo. We can't wait. But to keep this train going and to talk about what we heard on the Ariel Helwani show, and I'm just so pumped. I remember when MMA, UFC, Chuck Liddell, George St. Pierre, before Fox and ESPN, and before podcast and mainstream, and before The Ultimate Fighter. Those are the days I remember. Those are the days that I fell in love with mixed martial arts. So when I see The Rock, who is the greatest wrestler, superstar of all time, crossed over to Hollywood, grinding up the Hollywood ladder, C-level mediocre movies of Walking Tall, In the Rundown, In the Scorpion King, to move up the ladder and to be in now the biggest movies of the year, every summer. His blockbusters are just gold, are money-making. The Rock prints money. The Rock is Mr. Under Armour. I go into the Under Armour stores, and it's nothing but The Rock gear. He is transcended sports, Hollywood, mixed martial arts. He's a global icon. So when The Rock is at UFC 244 in the BMF belt, and when The Rock is on the Ariel Helwani show talking to Ariel, a mixed martial arts reporter, a podcaster, for 30 minutes, that's great. That is amazing, fantastic. That is superb. That is great for all of us. Everyone that's listening to this podcast, that was a good moment. If UFC, if The Rock, if they can elevate mixed martial arts, that's better for everyone. It's the little things in life, guys. You never know what that leads into. You never know who the next podcast, the next guy who talks. Tom Hanks says, he loves to watch, Colby Covington versus Usman. You never know. It's in the West Coast. You never know what basketball player, what rapper, Snoop Dogg. You never know who's going to be courtside coming out with the fighters. This is all great for getting mixed martial arts to mainstream, to get more money into the fighters' pockets. Fighters that I call friends, fighters that I call family. I want all the fighters to make more money. Everyone in the UFC, Bellator, PFL, every regional scene, every show on UFC Fight Pass, I want the fighters to make more money. Shit, they deserve it. All right, guys, we want to thank a couple of our sponsors real quick. One that's been with us from the get-go. We're getting close to episode 100. I'm definitely talking about Warhammer Fightwear. Check them out on Instagram and Facebook, of course. Go to their website, guys, warhammerfightwear.com. The best gear in mixed martial arts for guys, ladies, and kids. Also, let's check out Mako Tech Mouthguards. They're in the Gulf Coast. Check them out if you're in the Panhandle area. Any kind of mixed martial artist, anyone that wants to protect their gear, which is their teeth, which is the most important thing in life if you want to communicate or become a badass fighter. Mako Tech Mouthguards. You can check them out on Instagram, guys, at Mako Tech_Mouthguards. All right, guys. So now I want to talk about events. A once-in-a-lifetime event. And I think we're going to see more. This is when Vince McMahon created WrestleMania. He went all in. Put up tons of money. And the event that no one... Wait, you're making a super, wrestling card. You're making it that everyone has to go see it. Closed circuit TV, ticket sales, Madison Square Garden. You're going out on the limb. You're trying to get the fruit at the end of the branch. And now that's what the UFC is doing with the Quintet Ultra. We wrote about it on fightbananas.com, and you haven't seen it, definitely guys check out the article. It's awesome. It's great stuff. We're getting great information on what the event is, who's going to be a part of it. So let's just take it from here. It's the first time ever that on one card, on one event, on one grappling match, that the UFC is going to be involved. Pride is going to be involved. Strikeforce is going to be involved. And one of my dark horse old school favorites, we're talking about the WEC. We're talking about that Showtime Pettis off the cage. The rise of Chael Sonnen, stud fighters, Benson Henderson, and everyone underneath. It was I love the WEC. This is going to be a grappling event. There's going to be 4 teams of 5. And there are going to be legends involved. There's going to be some of the best fighters in the world right now and some young stud fighters. Like Sean O'Malley's going to be involved, guys. These top-end fighters, some fighters we can't even announce yet. Sakuraba is going to be in control of the Pride team. It's just going to be a once-in-a-lifetime event. It's going to be a grappling supercard with 4 teams of 5. It's like a Survivor match. It's like almost like a Survivor Series. I know we're talking a lot of Rock and Vince McMahon, but we're getting into the season of the Survivor Series of Thanksgiving. We're getting close to that 100th Fight Bananas episode, guys. I'm feeling it right now. But this Quintet Ultra will be on exclusively on UFC Fight Pass. The event is just going to be bananas. There's going to be tons of, the best talent in the world, and we're going to get you that when it's, when we can announce it. There's a couple we know, a couple that was on UFC.com. We wrote about it, and there's a couple that we're not even allowed to, give out there yet. So we got that in our back pocket. It'll be out super soon. Guys, like I said, we got a couple episodes coming up. Make sure you're subscribed to the Fight Bananas YouTube channel. Definitely tons of content. We got a lot of exclusive stuff happening on that in the upcoming weeks. I just want to hit on one last thing before we let you go and you start your day, or you close your eyes, or if you're kicking ass in the gym. I got one last thing for you. I was watching UFC Moscow and the co-main event, Volkov versus Greg Hardy. And the mixed martial arts media, the social media, was, let me say, elated. They were happy when Greg Hardy took the L. When Greg Hardy lost via unanimous decision on short notice against the number 7th ranked heavyweight in the world. And a lot of history goes into that. But I'm just telling you from what I know and what we've seen recently in the MMA game. One, I respect and I like when fighters, they come from football, wrestling, mainstream, when they do this crossover. When Brock Lesnar became a UFC superstar, champion, icon. Greg Hardy is good for the sport of mixed martial arts. He's good to bring more eyes to see Volkov and to see Zabit in the main event. And then the man took the fight on short notice, 18 days. He took it after just winning, or I guess it was a no contest because of the inhaler extravaganza, but won that fight. The man's never lost in the octagon, takes on the number 7th heavyweight on a short notice fight, already with a damaged hand. Much respect goes to Greg Hardy. Much admiration goes into his toughness, his grit. In life, you got to go for it. In life, swing to hit a home run. In life, you never settle. And that's what Greg Hardy did. He didn't care if he took the L. He didn't care what it did, like if it was a setback in his career. To me, it wasn't a setback. It was a push. Greg Hardy is bigger than what he was a week ago. Fought 3 rounds against the number 7th best heavyweight in the world with a bummed up hand, and he still couldn't get put down. Greg Hardy, 2 thumbs up to you. Guys, thank you so much for listening to the Fight Bananas podcast. Check out N-Still Nutrition. Check them out at nstillnutrition.com. Got some of the best supplements in the world. Say that 5 times fast. I love their pro team. We got Brock Weaver, Michael Beast Boy Davis. We got Alex, the Spartan Nicholson. We just got Taylor Jenkins linked up with N-Still Nutrition. Killer B with the great victory at King of the Cage. We got big news coming on for her. We had our main man, Sherrard Blackledge. His fight just dropped. He's fighting November 23rd. So much stuff is happening here with the Fight Bananas family, and we are not stopping. Episode 100 is coming around the corner. We'll have some really fun things happening. And also, if you're listening to this Thursday night, we're going live in the Banana Studio. Thursday night, Bubba Sheffield and Jeremiah McDougal, the Fusion boys, both 4-0, both undefeated, both won last weekend at Combat Night Duval. So, guys, stick with us. Make sure you check us out on Twitter at Fight Bananas. Check the website out at fightbananas.com. Hit on that Instagram on Fight Bananas Official. Slide in those DMs. And always subscribe to the Fight Bananas on YouTube page. And, of course, download this podcast and every other on all podcast platforms. Have a great day. Stay blessed. And always stay bananas.